Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazda. On today's show, we check in with the Water and Pollution Control Department. My guest today is John Dunn, Director of Water and Pollution Control. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, we haven't seen you in a while. I know it's because you've been very busy. You've got a lot of big projects on your plate. Probably the most visible one has been the new water treatment plant.
Yeah, that project out on East 13th Street has been moving along at quite a good pace. They've kept on their schedule that they originally proposed to us. As you drive by, you can start to see now some of that infrastructure rising up out of the ground. It's been really exciting the last couple of weeks because they've started actually installing equipment. So the project has transitioned from being just purely digging holes and filling them with concrete to now starting to put equipment in, and it's starting to take on the shape of a water plant.
So I have in my mind a recollection of the original groundbreaking, and I believe it was in the fall?
Yes, it was in August, I think, of 2014 that we broke ground.
Pretty amazing. It takes a long time to build a plant of this size, and they don't just go up overnight.
No, it's about a 2.5-year construction schedule. Right now we're targeting to have the plant operational so we can at least start running water through it by around May of 2017, and then having the whole project buttoned up and completed by October of 2017.
Now, for a lot of people, just the site was visible by the large crane that was there. But as you mentioned, now it's starting to sort of come up from the ground, and some of that the other elements are visible. That site was very strategic. Explain again why that site was so important.
Well, that site had a lot of advantages to us. The elevation of the site just worked very nicely hydraulically with the system of wells that we have in place. So we don't need to do anything new with the pumps or motors at the wells to be able to bring water to the site. It also allows us to reuse some of the infrastructure at the existing plant site by just connecting pipes between the two locations, and that's got several $1 million worth of saved cost in terms of constructing new infrastructure.
I don't think people realize how close the plants really are from an aerial view. In fact, I was talking to somebody recently who didn't know that the current water plant is downtown by the power plant.
Yeah, we actually sit right near Bandshell Park. We're kind of tucked back in a little quiet area there. A lot of folks don't know that's where we are. But the new location is within roughly about a mile of the existing plant site. And so we are running a series of pipes between the two locations, and people may have seen that construction work happening early this year.
So one thing that people in Ames have grown to love, and that is the great taste of Ames water. I think there's a little bit of nervousness going up that a new water plant might alter that a little bit.
We talked about that specifically during the very first stages of the design of the facility, because we were trying to look ahead at what new regulations might be coming and what things we should be preparing for. And there really wasn't anything on the radar that said that the treatment technology that we've been using for 100 years in Ames wasn't going to be successful for us. And that was an important concern for us, that the water not only have the same safe characteristics that it's always had, but it have that same great taste as well. And I think that customers will find when we move that there's going to be no change in the taste at all. The treatment technique, the lime softening that we use, is really going to be identical. It's going to be a much more efficient system to operate for us, but the end product is going to be the same product that people have really enjoyed for years.
So again, the water source stays the same place, the treatment process stays the same, so the end result, your tap water, should be exactly the same.
Should be exactly the same.
You mentioned efficiencies. Is it true that your new facility will be LEED certified?
It is going to be LEED certified. In addition to the environmental impacts of that, the reduced energy costs, the reduced use of chemicals, it's also got a significant financial gain for our customers in that we're getting about a $6 million loan forgiveness for constructing it to that standard as well. So that's something we're really excited and proud of.
Is that a state or a federal program?
This is a state program. It's from the state revolving fund.
So you also mentioned efficiency and conservation. How large is our current plant and how large will the new plant be?
The current plant is nominally rated at 12 million gallons per day, although we don't think that we could actually get that much through the facility. Early in our design, we did a projection as to what are we going to need for at least the next 20 years moving forward in the Ames community. And we factored into that conservation, because about the time we started the project, we started the Smart Water initiative trying to encourage the wise use of water. And so we did assume that there was going to be some conservation taking place. And that led us to design the new facility looking ahead at about a 15 million gallon per day capacity. And it's also interesting to note that the site and the way the plant is laid out on the site will allow us to expand that facility in the future from 15 to 20, and then again from 20 to 25 million gallons per day. So the site is really going to be the home of drinking water for the city of Ames for possibly another 100 years.
Great. You mentioned conservation. A lot of efforts have gone nationally, a lot of attention to water conservation and locally to water conservation. It does make a difference.
It does. It's amazing how much water can be used on a lawn that possibly doesn't need it. Really, a healthy lawn only needs an inch of water per week, and that includes what falls for free from the sky. And so we encourage people to not overwater, because what that does is it actually encourages your grass to grow very shallow roots, and that makes it more susceptible to drought when it does occur. And so it's actually healthier for your lawn, and it makes your lawn more drought resistant if you limit that watering to just 1 inch per week.
And I do know, we have all seen people that water every single day, sometimes at the noon hour, sometimes at times that don't seem really appropriate for watering.
Yeah, there are times of days that's better. Actually, early morning is generally the best time. Late in the day for the health of the plant is probably the worst time, because if you keep your grass wet overnight, that's when you start to get mold issues and mildew problems and things like that on your grass. It's also important, if you've got a sprinkler system, to make sure that your sprinklers are set so the water is landing only in the areas that you want it. I kind of joke and tell folks at times, it doesn't matter how much you water your driveway, you're not going to grow any more concrete. That's water that's just being wasted. And so we'd like folks to pay attention to the little things.
I know you do a lot of education and outreach in the Smart Water program, but also you have an event coming up that's going to share people a little bit more about another facility that you operate.
Yeah, at the end of April, we're going to host an open house at the Water Pollution Control Facility. We haven't had a public open house there in about 4 years, and it's really kind of a neat opportunity to step inside a facility that you probably would never otherwise have a chance to see.
And that isn't even located really close to your other location. It's a little bit trickier to find that one.
It is. If you come from the south towards Ames on Interstate 35, you've probably seen it at about mile marker 107 or so. They're just off the side of the interstate. You can see just the top of it. Folks who have never been there are really kind of amazed when they come at the plant from the other direction to see just how big that facility really is.
And you've had some upgrades and new equipment recently?
Yeah, we have. We, about 3 years ago, completed an ultraviolet disinfection system that disinfects the water before it's returned back into the environment, and just a whole host of reinvestment into the facility. It's now 27 years old, and the environment in a facility like that can be a little tough on equipment. So we've been doing a lot of work renovating and upgrading electrical and mechanical systems at the facility.
And that is, again, Saturday, April
23rd. It's going to be from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. Tours running throughout that time. We're also going to have a special program for Girl Scouts where they can actually earn a water conservation patch. And so if there's any troop leaders that have an interest in that, I'd encourage them to reach out to us ahead of time so we can get them the information they need to participate in it.
Wow. Well, so much going on, John, and I'm so happy you're able to stop by.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Well, again, if you'd like more information about the Water the Water Pollution Control Facility Open House. You can find that on our website. That event is Saturday, April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, look at cityofames.org for more information. Some other things to consider as we get into the next month. Many of you are probably looking forward to Yard Waste Free Day. That event has been bumped into May. As soon as we have a date for you, we'll get that out on our website, again at cityofames.org. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.